What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to be discussing the 6 must-know tips if you're trying to buy a house in the Kansas City Northland area. And number 6 is actually going to be negotiations. If this is your first time to my channel, let me introduce myself. I am Big Mike. I'm a local Kansas City real estate agent specializing here in the Northland. My strong suit is definitely negotiations of all things. So, of course, what better person to speak about it than me? And we're going to also be discussing just some insider tips, some of the hidden costs to prepare for, and then just some of the buying strategies that my buyers are utilizing right now to get their offers accepted and not having to drop as much money as possible, just because there's different ways you can negotiate. So stick around. I'm going to be dropping bombs. Be sure to take notes, and if you feel the need to reach out to me, my information's right here still. Call or text, doesn't matter. I got you for life. Number 1 on this list is absolutely timing is everything. So here in the Midwest, especially here in the Kansas City area, spring and summer are the hottest markets here. And with that being said, yes, more houses do pop up in the spring and summer, but with more houses comes more buyers. And when the competition's high, it's a supply and demand situation. When the demand is higher than the supply, housing prices are going to raise. Where you really want to purchase is during the slower times. Yes, you don't have as much inventory, but if you are truly in the market, there's no better time to be able to negotiate. So fall or winter time frames are actually the best times here in the Midwest, and January actually being the absolute best time to be able to purchase here in the Midwest. 2024 data shows that homes listed in the fall actually have on average spent less time on the market than spring and summer, just due to the fact that sellers are more willing to negotiate to get their homes sold. In the spring and summer time frames, they most likely have been educated that their house is going to go significantly above and just wait it out because there's a butt for every seat. So if you're serious about getting a deal, January is the best month to purchase, and homes listed during this time often face the least amount of competition, and sellers are way more motivated to make a quick sale. I mean, truth be told, who wants to move during the wintertime, and who wants to just sit there waiting impatiently during winter? If you're listing in the winter, you're probably not in a position to wait indefinitely. If you're listing in the winter, there's a reason why. You either are going through a life situation, divorce, move, kid, or one of the other many situations, like who wants to move during the winter? So you got to think, if someone lists during the winter, there's strong motivation to sell that place. That's where you can get the most deals. And then also, just how interest rates are timing during this time. So interest rates play a huge role in the timing your purchase. And right now, rates are actually been relatively steady, but they could rise later in 2024 and possibly raise or lower during 2025. We don't know. The Fed just keeps adjusting per inflation, and it's just something to kind of keep in mind during these time frames. When everyone's trying to purchase, interest rates kind of tend to stay more leveled. When they're trying to get more people to purchase, interest rates tend to drop a little bit. So just kind of keep that in mind during whatever time frame you may be watching this video. So hidden cost to budget for. So the property taxes and hidden tax districts. So it's all about hidden costs, something that you absolutely need to take account for. Park Hill School District and Liberty School District have higher taxes because they're highly sought after school districts. So keep that in mind whenever you're trying to budget for where you're trying to live. Watch out for the special tax districts. Right now, Shoal Creek Valley has a special tax district ranging from 0.5% to 1%. And these districts can add a significant amount to your bottom dollar taxes every single year. On top of everything, HOA fees. There's most top rated subdivisions in the area have HOA fees ranging anywhere from $400 to about $1,500 for the national. And there's places like Thousand Oaks, Woodney Farms, Staley Farms, just to name 3 of the top rated subdivisions that people try to seek. So definitely keep that in mind. The more amenities, the higher the HOA, and the more exclusivity, the higher the HOA. So when budgeting, don't just calculate your mortgage, include property taxes, include HOA fees, and then include special tax assessments so you're not caught off guard later. So number 3 on this list is know your neighborhoods. Where to buy in the Northland. So tip number 3 is just knowing your neighborhoods. Kansas City's Northland has an absolute range of options. So you need to know what fits your lifestyle. If you're looking for a family-friendly communities with great school, Liberty and Parkville are great decisions. If you're looking for that more upscale experience, I might suggest Briarcliff or even the National. And these areas are attracting a lot of buyers because You may be priced out of the luxury market of downtown, but there's these luxury style homes that still have a significant room for appreciation, and you get that suburban style lifestyle. Now, if you're a young professional of some sorts who want to commute to downtown daily, look at places like Briarcliff Village. You don't have to get into the luxury section, or Gladstone. These two places are significantly closer than, let's say, Smithville, Kearney, or Platte City. And you're just a short drive from the city, but still get that suburban feel. So definitely research the neighborhoods that you truly desire, research the cities that you truly desire, and hopefully you are able to drive through at different times of the day. A neighborhood that's quiet at noon may look very different at 5 p.m. on a weekday. So always do your research and just find out. I always suggest to people, if we go into like a townhome style or condo style living facility during the day, drive back in the evening time about 7 or 8. See how littered the drives, the roadways are with vehicles. Is that going to be a pain? Is that something you can deal with? Just something to keep in mind wherever you live. Just try to find how wide the streets are and see, do I think a lot of cars are going to be parked on the streets, and is it going to be a pain for me in the future? You can never do too much research when you're trying to purchase a home. Number 4 on this list is financing tips. Maximize your budget. So first thing to do is get pre-approved before you start shopping around. Now, it's all about financing, and the first thing you need to do is get pre-approved. And the reason I say this is you would never go to the store and not know how much money is in your bank account. Why would you go home shopping without knowing exactly how much house you can afford? And on top of everything, if you fall in love with a house that you can't actually afford, you're going to be heartbroken. And I now have to try to find a house that may be on a cheaper end spectrum. And that's harder for not only me, but it's harder on you too. Because once you have that, let's say, champagne taste, it's hard to look at a beer style budget. Or, for example, if you want that champagne life, but only think you can afford beer, it may be a simple conversation just to have. It's best to be more proactive than reactive in my world. So don't just settle also for the first mortgage lender you find. Shop around, compare interest rates, loan terms, closing costs. I have preferred lenders I work with. You can easily just reach out to me. I can get you connected with who I work with. I definitely trust. And then also always be taking advantage of some local incentives. Look into local incentives. Down payment assistance programs. Maybe there's different grants available for first-time home buyers for Kansas City. Some lenders in the Northland offer special deals for buyers moving into new developments, so don't be afraid to ask about incentives. So if you're planning to stay in long-term, consider a fixed rate mortgage to lock in today's interest rates. Or maybe if you're looking to make a move in 5 to 7 years, maybe an adjustable rate mortgage may be the option for you. It could save you a lot of money up front, but you definitely want to refinance out in the future. So just always keep in mind, you can never do too much research when you're purchasing a house. The biggest thing is getting the best deal for you. Number 5 on this list is inspections and absolutely due diligence. Protect your investment at all costs. I suggest all my clients all the time, get an inspection. The reason for it is you get one opportunity to find out everything with your house. Find out what's wrong with it. Find out every small nook and cranny that could be wrong with it. Now, the typical in the state of Missouri is just a mechanical inspection. That's a generalized inspection, looking over your entire house, roof, furnace, just general everything. The second one on this list is sewer. So you never know what you don't know, and with the sewer being underground, you always should be doing a sewer inspection. The reason for it is it's a very costly expense if there is something wrong with your sewer. Quick $8,000 can happen very, very quickly, and it costs $200 to run a scope down it. It's either good or it's bad. We always find that out, and it's a negotiation tactic. Sellers never know. Buyers never know. It's just best to always know how your sewer line is. The third one on this list is radon. So radon is a odorless gas, and it won't affect you overnight, but high radon levels are indeed factual cause for cancer. Now, you don't get it breathing it in for a day, but 20 plus years of exposure, that does lead to cancer. It's a leading cause for that. So it's definitely something to keep in mind of. A radon system costs anywhere from $500 to $1,000 essentially, just depending on what needs to happen and how fast needs to happen. And then the last one on this list is termite. It's always best to have termites. There's two types of houses here in the Midwest. the houses that have had termites and the houses that have yet to have termites. They're very, very, very common. So even if we find termites, it's not a big deal. Just kill it and then try to find what kind of damages they've done. Sometimes it's very minimal, sometimes it's a lot, but no matter what, everything can be fixed, so never freak out. So if you're buying an older home like in Gladstone, be sure to just hire an inspector who knows the area well. Issues like foundation cracks, septic systems, or even outdated plumbing can pop up, and you want to catch those absolutely early. So if you're buying a home also like recently flipped, be extra cautious and check whatever permits, if they have any type of permits for recent renovations, and then make sure everything is up to code to avoid surprises after closing, especially new construction, old construction, rehab. Always get an inspection. And that's just my biggest advocate, and I always suggest it. You have a 10-day period. I put it into every single one of my contracts. You get 10 days to find every single thing that's wrong with that property. Do it. Don't be a cheap ass. Just find what you need. Between all the costs, it's somewhere around $700-ish. But I promise, if you find something that you don't like, whatever the situation is way more expensive than what your due diligence is. So just keep that in mind. So the last on this list, number 6, the power of negotiation and how to win in a competitive market. So tip number 6 is all about negotiations. In a competitive market like Kansas City's Northland, you need to be strategic. You don't just go in and offer for a $300,000 house $200,000. I'll laugh at you, the seller will laugh at you, the listing agent will laugh at you, and then you're going to be offended. So there's many different ways you can find a way to negotiate. Call up, and this is what I do. I call up the seller, hey, what's important to you guys? Outside of price, because every single person wants the most amount of price. Outside of price, what is important? Do you want a quick closing? Do you want a slow closing? Do you want a flexible style closing? Do you want to be able to rent after we close? Do you want to have more security? Do you want it in its present condition? Do you want it as is? There's so many different ways you could put into a contract to make your offer stronger. So that's the number one way for negotiations, is find out what the other party wants and see if you're willing to do it. We can give a seller everything they possibly desire, and we could actually win with a lower payment amount, lower cost amount. $300,000 house, we can go ahead and get it for $290,000 if it makes sense for the seller. What is important to them? If they get everything in the world and on the very back end they make $10,000 less, there's a lot of people willing to do that just for security reasons. So there's many ways to negotiate other than that. Maybe it's you know what, we'll do a 7-day inspection period so we can get through inspections quickest as possible. Hopefully nothing pops up. Maybe we just go walk over the house and just really look everything over. Maybe in its present condition, waive inspections may be an opportunity. I would never suggest doing that, but if the house is super clean and maybe you are a contractor of some sort and not worried, that is something that can strengthen your offer by saying, hey, you know what, I'm willing to take the house absolutely as is. That is the best way to get an incredible deal in today's market. And maybe you do find stuff. Instead of asking for bottom dollar pricing off, it actually looks a little bit better on a $300,000 house. Asking for $290,000, it looks different compared to a $300,000 and asking for $10,000 in seller pay closing costs. For whatever reason, it just looks different. I explained it all the same, but to the eyes of a seller, it looks like a stronger offer. So just a little bit of tip of the trade. And on top of that, you can always use more money back in your pocket immediately when you're purchasing a house so you can do some possible renovations or whatever the case may be. So there you have it. Those are the 6 absolutely must-know tips for buying a house in the Kansas City Northland today, from timing your purchase to understanding the hidden costs to financing tips to choosing the best neighborhood, and then most importantly of all, how to negotiate like a boss like me. Once again, I'm Big Mike. I'm a local Kansas City real estate agent specializing in the Kansas City Northland and negotiations. So feel free to reach out to me night or day. I'd love to help you and your family make the biggest move of your entire life to the Kansas City Northland area. So feel free to reach out to me. But past that, Big Mike is out.